Good morning, good afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are located in the world. We don't want to punish the punctual, so we're going to go ahead and get started right now. My name is Bernard Taliaferro, and I'm the Vice President of Global Channels here at Rajant. I'd like to welcome you to Rajant's webinar introducing the Peregrine FE1 2255X. Before we jump into that, I want to cover off on some housekeeping items. The webinar is being recorded and will be archived and posted to our various pages, allowing you and others to view it later. We currently have everyone muted except for the presenters, but rest assured, your questions are very important to us. We will have a period of Q&A at the end of the webinar, so feel free to type your questions in the chat area. You'll notice a chat button down at the bottom of your screen in the little control panel. Just click on that chat button and open that window, and then you can type your questions in there. And at the end of the webinar, we'll go through and try to answer all of the questions. If there are questions that we aren't able to address during the webinar, we will formulate a list of questions and answers and get those out to everyone shortly afterwards. So our presenter today is none other than Rajant's product manager, Andrew Martin. Andrew has a background in industrial engineering as well as an MBA. He's worked in several industrial vertical markets, and Rajant's been with Andrew now since 2022. He's overseeing Rajant's product catalog as well as the development of future Rajant offerings in the industrial markets globally. So without further ado, I'm pleased to turn things over to Andrew.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Bernard. I'm honored. Thanks for the introduction. Yes, so I am Andrew Martin, Director of Product Management at Rajant. I am definitely excited to talk about a new product today, and I think it's going to be a lot of help for a lot of customers and partners. So it's the 2255X, and on the agenda today, I'm going to talk about some of the problem statements about why we're rolling this out now, the key features that we want to be discussing, a little bit about the technical specifications. I'll be going through some of the deployment scenarios with, I guess, how it's set up and some things that are needed to make it work. And then a summary of some of the benefits and value, just really highlighting some of the key reasons that the market wants this and how we set ourselves as set apart as being something different. And then we'll certainly finish with a question and answer. So like Bernard said, do put those questions into the chat. We'll summarize, we'll get through all of them after the summary at the end. And I don't expect this to take too much time. I think I'll probably just go through this in maybe 10 or 20 minutes and then go through your questions. Hopefully we can answer all of them on the spot. So we'll start with that age-old why and the situations that we're experiencing that we want to make better. We definitely have been seeing some of the RF dense deployments, situations where there's a lot of Rajant equipment packed into a small space, or there's a lot of Rajant equipment packed in with other wireless equipment into a tight space. So we see that as a interference issue with the co-channel interference, and we want to work through that with a product like this. Secondly, we are looking through a lot of the situations right now, particularly high bandwidth applications, particularly in ports and other areas that have, let's say, teleremote and a lot of video going through a network of ours. And we want to make sure that we're working through greater throughput and the needs for always increasing that overall bandwidth that we need to support. And then also working through, I guess, always the updating, upgrading from the older Wi-Fi 5 standards That only had downlink, multi-user MIMO. It didn't have the OFDMA. It did have a lot of limited spectral efficiency. A lot of the things, particularly in 2.4, were pretty much on the end standard. So moving up to an AX standard is potential for leapfrogging, 2 generations of technology. So we're introducing the 2255X. This is built on the FE1 product line that was started back in 2020. This is introducing it with the 802.11X, which is the IEEE standard. That's what Wi-Fi 6 is built on, and now is what Instamesh is also built on. So working through that, this is a quad radio, and it's industrial grade as a breadcrumb, as your typical FE1 breadcrumbs are. With 4 radios, being a quad radio, just consider how much transmit power that's really producing out there. When you compare that to the world, that is a lot of times like 2 competitor radios all built into one box. When a lot of the market is doing dual radio, and this is a 4 radio type setup. It's built for being, industrial grade and built first for being outdoor. This is not a box that was built for indoor and then we took it to the outdoor environment to beef it up. This is built first to be meant for going on mobile equipment. Shock and vibe is something that we're always thinking about. It's meant to live outdoors for multi-years. It's something that our FE1 series, like I said, has a 5-year track record of going out there and living in some great harsh worlds, and that's what we're expecting to continue with this one. So, and then a few more things that were just mentioned on the screen here. The improved spectral efficiency, the lower latency and higher throughput, really trying to focus this and help this along with dense deployment and higher uplink capacity. Some of the highlights I can highlight from the other tech specs. The supported bands, it's your familiar bands with 2.4 and 5 gig, but I would highlight that 4.9 gigahertz, which is something that in America's that's used for public safety and other areas that are allowed to use it. So that is supported natively. So that's another advantage, that this one has additional bands to work from. If that's of interest, keep us informed, because we'll get it certified for the regions that you're looking for. I want to highlight that the data rates are definitely bigger and better than what we've experienced with any of the previous products. The antennas, this is what you should normally expect with our FE1 series. We're putting 2x2 MIMOs on every radio, so that's dual end connectors, and that adds up to 8 end connectors around the box. There is a bit more power that this thing draws, so I wanted to highlight that, and I think I'll mention it in other places too, but this is a more power hungry box because of all the extra performance that the radios are outputting. So you'll see when I talk about deployment, this will need more more PoE, or if you're doing a DC power supply, it'll need more wattage that this thing is going to be consuming. But a lot of the other things are as expected. A lot of the interfaces are typical to our FE1 series. The mechanicals are the same as you'd experience with the same footprint for mounting. The environmentals are still industrial grade, and the environmental and temp specs are built for the rough world. As with all of our products during an announcement or a release, I have a product spec sheet that should be available on our website. I'll just highlight it briefly here, but the spec sheet will go through some of the details with all of our key features, talking about some of the things I was just mentioning. On the spec sheet, you'll see it side by side with our previous B model and then our new X model. And so you can see what the differences are, and just side by side, kind of comparing the upgrades and where things have improved. In some places, the data rates and some of the other things are nicely improved. Yeah, so I don't have to go through all this in detail, but you can find this on the web, and we'll make sure this is available after the webinar here. Okay, let's see if So I mentioned some of the deployment scenarios. The general form and function of the FE1 series is still to be expected. So we're talking about these mobile equipment and infrastructure that the Peregrine is meant for. Doing mounting like you'd normally expect with direct mounts, pole mounts, universal mounts. This product is launched with all the normal mounting equipment that we sell for it. It's still compatible with all the previous stuff that partners may have used or built to be able to attach these things. Back in the tech specs, I did I highlighted the higher power requirements for higher wattage. And so that also means that we have some new PoEs to work with these things. So we got a new 75 watt PoE. It's our HVDC that we're offering, which is it's our very rugged DC PoE. And then we also have our AC PoEs that we'll be supporting for these, all with the higher wattage that are needed to drive these radios. I mentioned before the antennas are still to be expected with the same frequencies, the 2.4 and the 5 that you're typically used to. Something I wanted to highlight though is that we do recognize that there's a lot of antenna ports around this radio. So that is 4 antenna ports for the 2.4 gig and 4 antenna ports for the 5 gig. We are rolling out with this release a new 5 gig antenna that's dual port. So you can put 2 of those 5 gig ports into one antenna and cut your 5 gig antenna count in half. So now if you're setting this up with, typically you have your 4 5 gig antennas, now you'd only need 2. So this is a good example of trying to reduce the complexity of how this gets installed, particularly on mobile equipment, but anytime that the installation is, I'd say, complex or is space constrained, we are trying to work on making it easier to install the Peregrine with less equipment, less antennas, and mounting situations to have to work through. At the bottom, the situations or the markets that we normally expect to install these in, and the applications therefore, they're all still very similar. Still working at the mining sites, still working with the autonomous fleets, the teleremote fleets. The Peregrine is still very good for infrastructure, and we want to make sure that this continues to be I guess the premium product, the high-end product that it is for some of the roughest scenarios. The benefits and value, I've been kind of touching on it, but I just want to highlight that we have a host of new features. All the features are set or highlighted because they have a benefit to to the market, to the end users, and then there's a value to having any of those key benefits. And so as you're talking about this with customers, with people out in the market that are looking for this sort of thing, I do like to highlight why there's a value to this new product and to the features that are in it. So being able to focus on the low latency and high reliability for the mesh networking, Ragent is continuing to up the bar and continuing to increase and improve what that's all about. And that means that the mission critical systems like autonomous operations, they're online as as ever possible. Having stoppages is not part of the equation. So that's an expensive problem if there's a work or equipment stoppage, and that's why customers choose Ragent, is to keep these things up and running. The spectral efficiency, this is the higher QAM, you're going from 256 up to 1024. This does mean we can put a lot more data out there on the spectrum, and we do want to see that helps with supporting more data, in these denser areas, being able to do fewer devices in an area, and that does lead to lower capital and operating expenses to be able to do more with less. This radio, just like the Ragent history of radios, it's all backwards compatible, and we are flexible with how you install these and mount these with, I guess, upgrading equipment or mixing equipment with a mixed fleet of older generation Ragent gear and the newer generation. We want to make sure that it's really simple to drop this equipment into a site, and it's backwards compatible, and it's very easy to either upgrade a site or expand a site. And we always focus on making that a key point, that you're not going to be dealing with a whole site migration problem. There's ways that you can do this in steps, and Ragent will continue to be flexible with how those upgrades occur. And then, as usual, the ability to have a mesh that's self-healing, be able to adapt in real time, and be able to reduce manual intervention, and being able to make sure that these networks just continue to operate as they normally do, without a lot of let's say, manual design, a lot of things that we want to make sure that the networking just takes care of. And this product continues to build on that. So it's a bit that we want to keep working through with all of our products. So this being a snippet of the features and benefits. In addition, I also have a features and benefits guide, and we'll make sure that this is also available for download off the website. This is all the general key features that we like to talk about. Everything from the speed to the multi-user MIMO to the higher performance. And so it goes through some of the features that the device has. And it goes through some of the value, that what are those features doing for the customers, and how is this a differentiator to the customers when it's not the same as everything else that's out there on the market. So this will be available, and again, just wanted to highlight this as another way to have content for you, and then for our end customers to understand where these new products are better or different from what we've done before, and what the competitors are doing as well. So I'll show through that. I think that's 20 minutes. I was going to go through. No, I think I'm good for the moment. I think I'm good to see if there's any questions. Any questions or comments that the folks have, by all means, put them in the chat. See if there's anything else you guys are thinking about for the new product here.
So that was excellent, Andrew. I'm keeping an eye on the chat window now. I don't see any questions in there yet. One just popped up from Tyler Booth. I see here, is the CPU faster than the Peregrine to allow higher APT speeds?
This is the same Peregrine main board and main processor. So these are the existing Peregrine bits with the same processors that we have in this. So they are the same right now.
Any other questions, please type them in the chat for us quickly if you can. Another question here from Tyler. Are your new dual port antennas dual band to reduce antennas for both 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, or only 5 gigahertz?
That's a good point. So today we have the dual 5 gig antenna. That is it's a tuned 5 gig antenna, not dual band down in the 2.4 range. But in the coming weeks or months, in a few weeks, we are working through a dual 2.4 antenna so that we'll have both to choose from. And that will certainly be a good way to cover the 5 gig and the 2.4 gig. Because right now we can reduce the 5 gig antenna count in half, but then we'll also soon be able to reduce the 2.4 and reduce in total. The goal would be get our antenna count from 8 down to 4 for this product.
I have a question here from Ray Williams. I see the new product also operates in the 4.9 gigahertz public safety band. Where do you see these being used? Do you want to elaborate on that, Andrew?
Yes. So in terms of the markets, public safety, like you highlighted, is an area where a lot of folks are talking about this. Rail is another area that has access to this band. I guess there's folks in forestry that have had access to this. And really it's about having a customer that is, I guess, permitted to have access to these channels at 4.9. And as the customers are looking to do this, we're talking fire, police, emergency rescue, rail, forestry. So all those areas typically have permission. And if others, come to us that also have the okay to use it, that's what it's here for.
Thanks, Andrew. Got a question here from Paul Meyer. Could you please speak a little bit to backwards compatibility?
Yes. So the as a core, InstaMesh is built with all of our breadcrumbs in mind. That the InstaMesh protocol is I guess compatible with any breadcrumb that Rajant makes. The idea is that when you plug these radios in and you turn them on, they will get discovered. They will get, I guess, into a network with all their other breadcrumbs, and that really is regardless of the generation or the type. So if you're looking at mixing a network with, let's say, old ME4s and new Sparrows and new Peregrines, and even this new Peregrine X, they all speak together and they all have the compatibility that they will work as expected. Of course, every breadcrumb has its capabilities. That some have channels that it can be on, or have power requirement or transmit power bandwidth sizes. But as they match up, they all communicate to each other. And that's something that we continue to promote, because that's something that Rajant wants to make sure is very easy for the new breadcrumbs to work with the old ones and not have an obsolescence plan.
Thanks, Andrew. From Brian Mullenbach, what is the anticipated initial shipment release?
Yes, we're taking orders now. We are expecting a 10-week lead time for these first orders to get through and get to delivery. So that puts us in, 10 weeks is like mid-December at this point. But that falls in line with our typical lead time that we do on breadcrumbs as we've had in our past.
Excellent. And uh, from Luis, I'm gonna venture to say Miajas. And I apologize if I butchered that. Uh, the max transmit power is 1 watt. The question is for the 5 gigahertz band, um, 5750 to 5850 could transmit with 4 watts in some special conditions. For example, in the coast with vessel units. Um, so my interpretation of this question is it possible for this uh, breadcrumb to transmit at a higher output power
Right,
based
where
on
it's
places that it may be deployed that would accept that?
yeah, where it would be legal in off
Mhm.
coast type of setups. So if you want to go higher than 1 watt, I would steer you towards our custom Peregrines. Those have the ability to take custom radio cards that do output higher transmit power. We are working on some new ones that might actually meet what you're talking about, but we've already got custom radio cards that go into 2 watts and in other situations like that. And so when we're talking about these high power setups, um, yes, Regent does it, and it's just it's not in this particular product. It would be in the product called the, I guess, Peregrine Custom Frequency. And so if there's interest in that, please reach out. Our sales directors can put together proposals for that sort of thing. Where we're talking about a good, I mean, those are great opportunities we're always seeking to build off or build product for.
Another great question here, and thank you, Andrew. Another great question here. Are there any plans to introduce um, AX version of the Cardinal?
Yes. Um, I think there is some of the folks that have been keeping in touch with me. There is a roadmap for our products and looking at how we are, I guess, upgrading and steering our products towards next generation. Uh, and so with that, we are looking at a full product line refresh, and the Cardinal is part of that. Um, I don't have a delivery date on that, but I can tell you that we are looking at all of our product refresh is Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7 at this point, and that's going to go across our entire product line. So over the next several months, you'll be hearing a bunch of things from me, new products that are coming out for various different models, and it's all going to be upgrading to 6 and 7, and specifically that would be our AX and BE IEEE standard.
Excellent, thank you. From Cal Stone, any future plans for 6 gigahertz or 6E variants?
Yes, well, I guess I could say just yes, we do have plans. Uh, the the plan at the moment, when we released this, we wanted to make sure that we're getting the Wi-Fi 6 with our existing bands, our 2, 4, and our 5. We do have products in development for the new 6 gigahertz that Wi-Fi 6E and Wi-Fi 7, I guess, promotes and offers. So it probably won't be in an FE1 variant. It'll probably be in the next generation that's coming out with it, uh, and that will be where we have a mix of radios that are 2, 5, and 6 gigahertz. Uh, and so that's definitely stuff that is deep in development right now. We're definitely getting a lot of good press about where that's going to be used.
Thank
Uh,
you. And
Actually, just sorry, one last point about that. To any of the partners, any of the sales directors, when you have when you have a use case for some of these things, we're asking about 6 gigahertz. We're asking about, I guess, the higher power things that, or the Cardinal with a AX capability. If you've got a use case for it, I'd really appreciate anybody's welcome to reach out to me. I think you got my email when I sent out the notice for this. I am always trying to collect use cases of where you want to use, for instance, the 6 gigahertz band, because that will help frame some of the requirements and some of the ways that we set this up. Like for instance, right now we're building out the 6 gigahertz with 4x4 antennas. And that's a lot of antennas. So we're working on how we're going to actually make that work. Internally or externally, or multi-port antennas. So please reach out if you've got some use cases for how you want to use these new products that we're talking or asking for.
Nope. So two last questions, and then we will close. So are regulatory approvals underway, or are reports available? And this is from Kyle in South Africa. Or are reports available for them to use to start getting for them to get the process started for the approvals needed in South Africa?
We definitely have several of our tests for certification underway. We are getting the test reports in the coming weeks. So as we get through those, we will definitely be working with the different countries and the different partners to make sure that the certifications are going for the regions that we want to sell these into. I guess that would be a similar answer for other things. If you're looking to get this certified in your region, do reach out to your sales director. We do have a pretty quick process on going through those requests and then getting the ball rolling for certification in South Africa, in other African countries, in anywhere that we need this thing to be sold and shipped.
Excellent, excellent. Are there any? How long will the FE12255 continue to be manufactured? That's the question that I've got here from Brian Mullenbach.
We don't plan on obsoleting the 2255B model, not at this time. So that will run in parallel with this model. So you'll have the AC model, and then you'll have the AX model that are both available. And we'll differentiate them on the price list, and we'll continue to kind of show where they are. But we don't have a plan for, I guess there's a product life cycle. Right now they are in full production. The next phase would be limited availability, and we don't have a plan yet for starting to work on like limited availability or last time buys. We haven't started any of that yet. So these are still going as those B models are still available as any other product on our price list.
Okay, and then this time for real, this is going to be just one final question regarding antenna arrays. Are there any recommendations regarding the use of omnidirectional versus directional antennas?
When we launched this will be certified with omnidirectional antennas. The use of sectors, panels, other things that are directionals, those would, I mean, if you're talking to me as the manufacturing Rajant body, we have to recommend things that are certified. And at this, at the launch right now, we don't have a certified panel or a sector or directional antenna to go with it. That's different. When we're talking about the old B model, that's already been certified for sectors and direction. So it's certified for sector and panel. that is a good situation that we want to work through. If there's need for putting this up with, let's say, panels, for instance, let us know, and we'll make sure we add that to the certification plan.
Great. Thanks for that, Andrew. So we're going to wrap things up. I want to thank Andrew, of course, for presenting and sharing his knowledge about the product. I want to thank Gizzy O'Toole from the marketing department for engineering all of this and taking care of all the behind the scenes stuff. And most importantly, I want to thank all of you who've taken time out of your morning, afternoon, evening to be on this webinar just to gather the information that we're sharing. Our plan is to start distributing information and collateral about this new product, getting things updated in our price books, and to be able to start taking orders and start delivering this product before the year is over. So super excited about this product, and again, super excited to have all of you here to witness this. Thank you for your time, and have a great rest of your day, evening, or night.
Yeah, thank you all.